Hi Leo, this is wishkotheferret. Thanks for hopping into the ferret den where we're keeping things warm here. We're keeping things cozy. Today we have a reading for you for June 5th to June 11th. So as always, drop into your heart space. Let the dust spiritually, physically, and emotionally settle around and within you so that you can determine which messages are for you and which messages are for others, okay? And I'm going to drop into my meditation as well. And again, I would like to thank Archangel Michael for protecting this space and for protecting my energy. Thank you to my angel guides and to my spirit team for keeping me connected, for helping me channel the energies of Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And we'll see what's going on for this week. Leo. All right, so already we're getting into it. Hang on, let me put up my hair for this. Because we're getting into it. Okay, so the main focus that you have for this week, the main card that you have is intuition. That's going to be, this is like the connector card, your anchor. This is everything for you this week. Intuition. Each person's road to the inner Lord is extraordinary and personal. How liberating to listen inside and sense moment to moment what's needed. So this is definitely something you got to heavily rely on this week, because not everything is as it appears, or maybe it is as it appears, but maybe your emotions are steering you in the other direction. So the reason why I say that is because you have the Two of Pentacles and you have the Three of Swords. And in my spread, these correlate with one another. So what's going on with the surface situation, the Two of Pentacles is always about balance, and the Three of Swords typically means like a suffering or some type of loss. So some of you could actually, I just heard like keep your head up. So some of you might have already experienced this loss, and it's just trying to balance. It's like maybe you're having trouble upkeeping your life because of this loss, but I just feel this deep sense of ache. I actually kind of feel like crying a little bit right now, but I know it's not mine, so I'm trying to keep it down. It's almost like I feel like this, like your heart's been dragged in the mud. I don't know if this is separation from a person or if this is just love. I just heard loved and lost. So maybe you've recently had a separation with someone, romantically speaking, or this could have been in terms of like just a love of anything. You could have loved a job that you left. You could have loved a friend that, you know, might have left, but there's something here about maybe like the rest of your the rest of your life is just hard to balance because of this pain inside, like you're trying to move forward. And it seems like the root of all of this, you have the Nine of Wands here and the Nine of Swords. I really don't like two of them showing up together. There was only supposed to be one card here, but Spirit insisted on two popping out. And this actually tells me that there's a lot of fears coming up right now. And there's a lot of caution, and maybe for good reason. You know, I mean, I totally want to validate this and say that like there's like, you know, when we undergo separation, oftentimes that provokes a lot of insecurities within us, or there's something there that's unresolved and that's trying to come up. It's almost like there's some type of like Spirit saying that this darkness is kind of eating away at your soul a little bit. Not quite literally. Your soul's fine, I promise. Your soul's fine. Your soul's always fine. It's just like there's still pain here in the physical of like, it's almost like the darkness is kind of eating away at your heart, and it just feels like with the Nine of Wands, or the Nine of Swords tells me fear. The Nine of, it's usually when this card pops up, it's quite literally just nightmares. You could be somebody just having nightmares, but those nightmares are there for a reason. So okay, I don't know how I want to say this. So the Spirit's kind of mentioning, and I don't know if like anybody has this capability, but sometimes like my guides like to push me, and sometimes we are put in situations where we feel very pushed, because what would life be without its challenges, right? And my guides are actually opting me to share. They're like kind of poking me in the back with a stick here, like, you need to share that one experience that you had. I woke up from a nightmare, and I've been having nightmares. I've been tormented. It was like during my spiritual awakening when I lost one of my friends, tragically, and I felt haunted by them for a while. But one of the dreams, it was just an absolute nightmare, and I woke up, and I just remember just being so pissed off because I was like, I just want to sleep. And I told him, I got back in bed and I pulled the covers up over me, and I was like, you better send me that dream again, because I'm going to tell it to go away. This is going to end right now. I'm going to tell it off. And that's exactly what happened. It wasn't the same type of dream, but it wasn't the same, like, it wasn't the same scenario, but it was a different scenario trying to provoke the same fear. And I told it off, but in a way that was like, I said no firmly, and then I ended up just, when I found that there was nothing I can do and it kept tormenting me, I just surrendered and let it go. So I actually found the solution in my dream state, because I actually asked for it, and I was fed up, and I said, no, now's the time this suffering stops. I will not be tormented anymore. So if some of you are actually having problems with your dreams, quite literally, if you're feeling that, if you're feeling frustrated, you can ask. You can say, show this to me again, and I'm going to tell it no. But you got to feel it. You got to feel it in your heart, and you got to be ready. And you got to feel like, I'm not deserving of this situation. I'm ready to move on, but let's tell it to go away first. A great part of this is just surrender and letting spirit help you. Because there are like all these things, especially with separation and letting go, and even like the rejection, there could be like a fear of rejection here, like intermingling. It depends on who you are and how you connect with this energy. But a lot of times they are things that are operating out of our control. But the things that are coming up from within, it's so hard. Like, you really can't control how you feel, but you can determine how you handle the things that you feel. And oftentimes, being a neutral observer actually helps. So letting letting the emotions kind of pass through you, like acknowledging that they're there, but not putting a critical eye to it and letting it float on by, that helps ease the pain over time if the loss is fresh. Okay. But another thing is that, some of you are acting out of caution because of this fear, or because of these insecurities that have been prompted, because of this loss, you are acting cautious. I want to say don't be too cautious, just because I feel like when we overthink things and when we operate too much from a place of hurt, sometimes it actually blocks blessings manifesting in the future. And I'm not going to tell you need to repair it all today. Like, that's awful. Like, that's not even a thing. Like, some people can go on a retreat over a weekend and come back feeling completely healed, but there's some type of integration that has to happen. And it takes time, and, you need your space to heal as well. So remember that too. The reason why, sorry, I'm bumping my microphone. This is like a new thing for me, so bear with me, please, Leo. But I feel like there are good things surrounding this. I would just caution that, yes, while there's fear and caution at the root of this, because it's almost like you don't want to repeat things. You don't want the same thing to happen twice or 3 times. Like, I don't know, for some of you, it could be multiple, but they're saying like twice for a lot of you, like a big energy of twice. But I'm getting like an extra like 3rd time, and I was like, oh snap, like this might be something that's like recurring, some type of south node thing that just keeps popping up again, and it's something that you're meant to learn to move past, and that can be extremely difficult. And if that's the case, I'm so sorry. That's difficult. I'm somebody who has to go through a lot of those too. A lot of us do, but some pretty good cards that I see you building off of: the Empress card. The Empress is a card of creation. It's bossin' bitch energy. You don't have to be any type of, like, this is bossin' bitch for everyone. Doesn't matter if you're a girl, guy, non-binary, whatever. You bossin' bitch, okay? You're kind of embracing that energy, and you're moving forward with your power of creation. Just really, you're entitled to that confidence. You can have that confidence. It's okay to have that. Remember who you are at your core so that you can stand strong in your confidence. You have the 2 of Wands. You're building up your future and you're moving forward. So the 2 of Wands is the planning stage. Thinking about, I just heard some spirits just said something deserted you. So even if somebody or something deserted you, or you found that something was not right for you, if it left, it wasn't meant for you, first of all, and that there's something better out there. And I know that's kind of a tough pill to swallow sometimes, because we're like, I know, I've heard it, I don't want to hear it again, I'm just in pain. that's fine. But you're still kind of making efforts to move forward. With the Two of Wands, we're planning what we're doing next. We're plotting our next moves because he's looking at the world and he's like, what can I do next? He's like, you know, Spirit's like, engage yourself in something else, because this will actually ease with time. If you've done all of the work that you can with it, this is like, it's a marathon, not a sprint with healing. We're healing for like the rest of our lives. So not that this is going to hurt forever like this, but sometimes things are too painful to look at right up front. And it's okay to take your time to look at it. You don't have to, especially with like, if you're spiritual and you're looking up a lot of, if you're like into spiritual and personal development, we don't have to do it all today. It's a marathon. You don't have to get to it tomorrow. Okay. I think that's the biggest thing. That's like the biggest thing. Switch off the need to fix, quote unquote, how you're feeling. And just live your life. Just move on, plan the next thing. And if it comes up, you'll deal with it then. It's like crossing that bridge when you come to it. I know it's something you want to get rid of immediately, but it's almost like, I'm going to put it like this. In the grand scheme of things, once upon a time, so we talked, I think it was your group. Yes, we just talked about like my spiritual awakening and everything and how I had lost a friend. Well, I know that I'm supposed to write a book on it, but at the time I was so wrapped up and heard about it that I could not bring myself to put pen to paper and actually write the story. It's a beautiful story. It's like the way that it's freaking madness. I feel like people wouldn't believe me if I told them like how everything interwove together, and I was like, whoa, like just the amount, like just everything, you know, totally out. But anyway, Spirit's telling me to dial it down. Okay, sorry. But essentially, I found that I wasn't ready, but I kept getting all of these visions saying, you know, hey, like, you know, like now's the time to do it. Now's the opportunity. And I was like, and I couldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. So I actually had to say, look, I know this is what I came here to do. One of the things I came here to do was write that book, but I'm not going to do it right now. And they, you know, I mean, they respect that. They put down, you know, they're like, okay, let's move on. So sometimes you have to move on from that hurt. You can't just swallow up in it. You can't just sit in it, okay? So I feel like that's actually what you're doing here with the Two of Wands, is making efforts to move forward. And, you know, good on you. Good on you. Because that's something that we all need to remember, is that, you know, we don't have to rush through it all, you know? Ooh, Ari's got that one too. I like that. Let me tell you how excited I am to give you these cards. So you have co-create, and so interesting. Like if you have Aries in any of your big charts, I think that might actually, they were about separation too and letting something go. So that might be a similar, I don't know, all the fire signs end up having similar energies and similar cards popping out. But you have co-create, but because you have the Empress here, that's like double the creation energy. Spirit's like doubling down on the message of you can co-create something. Spirit's saying this might be kind of a mess right now, but you can make something beautiful out of it. You don't necessarily have to write it in story form. You could if you wanted to, or you can move on. I just heard like bust a move. So some of you might be into dancing. If that's something you want to create, maybe you want to do some choreography. If you're somebody who wants to just go out, dance, party, have a good time, you can do that too. Whatever, like this co-create, like whatever madness you want to pursue. I call it madness because like madness is like, I feel like the kind of creation like where you're just going nuts and you're just like personally, when I create things, I get really obsessive and it's almost kind of like madness about it, almost to unhealthy terms. I'm not saying go out and get unhealthy and like go out and get like a nice coffee or something and stay up all night to do something. What I'm saying is that like it's okay to like lose yourself in something that you're really passionate about. You can co-create it. What I love about the co-create card is that they're birthing something new. This is an old energy. This might be something that you've never tried before because it is fresh from the egg, or it's a different type of egg, so you're at least moving in a different direction. So this could be new relationships, new people, getting involved with creating something. It doesn't have to be like a creative passion. It could be just, you know, something new, like, you know, indulging in a friendship, or even like going into a new place, and, you know, developing a relationship with like a coffee shop, since we're talking about coffee. I don't know if all y'all coffee lovers out there, but, you know, that'd be my place to go. But it's almost like you're creating something, and with the Empress especially, because the Empress is the card of creation. It's fertility. And something else that's popping into my mind too is really leaning back on the feminine. So we all, regardless of, you know, regardless of whether you identify as more masculine or more feminine or whatever, every individual has masculine and feminine energy. It's the duality of life. It's like the yin and the yang, but the masculine is more of like the yang energy, and the Empress or the feminine energy is more of the yin aspect, where we create. It's almost like we are receiving things. It's more of like the intuitive side. However you identify like the divine feminine or whatever. I still need to deepen my studies on that, but essentially it is the feminine does focus on creation, and that is what you are doing, is creating. And it's just I don't know, it's just a highly blessed time. You have the blessed card, so that's whatever you pursue now is blessed. It might not flourish in the way that you think it will, but it will definitely lead to something. I just heard something like building credibility. So for some of you, you could be pursuing a path that would help you gain credibility in your field or gain credibility in something else. But either way, like this path is blessed, and recognize that everything up until now has been blessed. And I don't know, there's something, I guess I'm looking at the time. I do have time to tell you. There's like rewriting your story differently. So like Ari's had something similar. The rewriting your story part, I think, is something that a lot of people don't know how to do. And if you have tarot cards, I highly recommend trying to speak to your intuition through tarot cards, or even just journaling, because that can offer like incredible insights if you know the meanings of the cards anyway. But trying to restructure your story to where I'm so blessed because I learned through these experiences, even though they were painful, I learned how to overcome my challenges. I learned like how to be graceful, especially when you step into a state of power and when you recognize when the same situation happens again and you're able to tell it, no, thank you. But then you stop and go, wait a second, that was easy. Or like, I can't believe I actually said that. And then you look back and think of all the times where you felt you couldn't say those things. So all of those things were almost preparing you to become as strong as you are now. And like, I know people don't really want to hear that. Like, oh, I know I became strong. But I think we really take for granted how much we change and how much of our experiences, like we are able to say yes to a lot of things because we have learned to say no. And I don't think that your growth is something to take for granted. I think that that's something that you should be celebrating this week, is looking back and recognizing how far you've come. And yes, all of these awful things have happened, but you have learned to stand up for yourself and to move on. You have actually picked yourself up, and you've picked up the broken pieces of glass that is your heart, and you have literally glued it back together and made it amazing time and time again. And you've become stronger for it, and you've moved on. This isn't even about strength at that point. Like, yes, strength is a big part of it, but it's almost like you're just getting wiser, and you're moving forward, and you're able to say yes to more things and say yes to more opportunities. So that's kind of why, like, I caution against, like, this is kind of normal. I don't really want to say too much about the Nine of Swords and the Knight of Wands. It's totally normal if you're being, like, abundantly cautious and, like, you're a little bit fearful, because that's just the tender time that we find ourselves in after pain. But the best way, I think, to handle this, like, with your energy, and of course, you're your best guide. So look at yourself and your situation, tune into your intuition, because that's already strong this week for you, Leo, given that's your anchor card, intuition, and really feel like, is this, like, it's okay to protect yourself for a little while. It's okay to be cautious because you're tender for a while. That's okay. Just know that it's temporary. This time will pass, and then you will eventually open yourself up to more experiences again. Just make sure that you're not carrying too much baggage, and it's not becoming integrated in your story. So you don't want to, like, say, oh, I'm never going to date, like, blah, 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 blah again. Or, like, I say blah, 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 and I should probably be more specific. I'm never going to date this type of person in this area, like, but something so general that it blocks out, like, a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really know why. It's almost like, it's like somebody who, like, I'm just using dating because it's the first example that comes to mind. But if you're on the dating app or something, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm never using the dating app again. I'm going to go out and meet someone organically. That could be hard. But maybe you learn something new from that, and you can still date on an app. It's just, or you can still do the online dating thing. Maybe you just try a different site. Or maybe you just, like, use different filters or something, or what to watch out for when you talk to people now. So that's just it's about your attitude, I think, that helps you move forward with that. We're gonna pull, okay, cool. We're gonna pull some of these oracle cards from Secret Garden, and then we'll roll some dice for you. So I just told you, keep moving forward. It's okay. Just don't wallow in it. Keep moving forward. You have move, a rolling stone, gathers no moss. And I think, especially with this oracle card, moss is something you don't want, because that just sits, it makes you feel stagnant, it's kind of covering you. And yes, don't get me wrong, having a moss blanket and just being covered in earth sounds like the greatest thing in the world. But when we're moving and when we're like actively rolling, you know, it helps us not be stagnant, and, you know, it helps us not be covered. We really want to shine as that rock. I don't really know if I'm keeping up with this analogy and we're able to see it, so let me try something else. So being stagnant, you don't want to stay stuck in that stagnant energy. You just want to keep moving a little bit. We don't have to keep doing, like, you know, don't fall on your face and don't overwork yourself, but moving in a direction consistently and trying not to keep our eye too much to the past will actually greatly benefit you. And you also have present, so that kind of supplements the message. Journey into the garden to escape the two eternities, the past and the future. So instead of worrying about all of the mistakes or the issues of the past that are no longer present, and instead of focusing on where things are going to be in the future or how things in your future are going to play out, the best time to work with this manifestation energy is now, because that's really all you have. Your greatest power right now is creation. Creation and honing in on your intuition. So whatever it is you feel like creating, let yourself accumulate those good feelings through that creation. See what you can create for yourself and really just let yourself shine in that way, because that'll help clear some of this darkness that's going on at the root of all of this, okay? It will help shine some healing, and it helps shine some truth on your character so that you can feel more secure in that, yes, that old thing was no longer for me. But save that for allotments or specific scheduled times of reflection, and don't spend too much time trying to focus on it, because that's going to bring you down, okay? We have 106 for you. We're pulling from Angel Numbers by Kyle Gray, as always. Let's see what we got for you here. In order to move forward, here we go. Okay. In order to move forward, you are being guided to cut all the cords that are binding you to the situations of the past. Yeah, you know, what did I just say? Okay, I'm going to say it one more time because I always say these messages twice. In order to move forward, you are being guided to cut all the cords that are binding you to the situations of the past. Well, there you go. I couldn't have said it better myself. We just talked about that in length of letting things go. So, that being said, Leo, thank you so much for tuning into this reading. I hope it gave you the information that you needed to help really step into your power this week and to really take advantage of your powers of creation and intuition at this time. If this resonated with you in any way, go ahead, like and subscribe and all the things. It really does help the channel grow. It lets me know that the people that are watching likes what I post, and that, like, you know, you like my style, you think I'm cool. Also, subscribing helps you not miss content. I post weeklies. I do post occasional collectives and pick a cards whenever I have the stamina for it. I am itching to do a little bit of like a collective reading later because I have a new spread I want to try out and I'm so excited. So yeah, and all the things. So I love you, Leo, and I will see you next time. Bye.